Good evening, it's Patriot Smoothie with breaking news. The trial of Pat King has been delayed 6 months from November 27th, 2023 until I believe May 13th, 2024. The trial will then commence and sit for 9 days, take a break, and then come back for a week in July 2024. This is at the result of a defense motion to adjourn the trial until that time, as it was going to start again at the end of this month, November, on the 27th. Defense attorney Natasha Calvino, I believe, sorry if I said that wrong, on behalf of Mr. King, made a motion to delay the trial, saying that she received a large volume of disclosure, no indication if it was late disclosure or not, and that she would not be able to properly go through all of the material, the videos, the Word documents, everything else in time for the trial. The Crown maintaining that they were ready to go for November 27th, and in fact that they're ready to go earlier, but that doesn't seem to be the issue here. The issue is that the defense is not ready to go based on the amount of disclosure in this composition of disclosure. So that's a big news. Also, apparently, Mr. King is asking for a trial by judge as opposed to a trial by jury, which is very interesting. So, and that has been, the Crown agrees to that, so there's no issue. It's going to be a trial by judge. So from my understanding, it's going to move from Ontario Superior Court of Justice to the Ontario Court of Justice, as trials by jury in criminal matters are held in Superior Court and trials by judge are held in the Ontario Court of Justice. This also means, by the way, tomorrow is Wednesday, and there is a to be spoken to in the trial of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, both of whom are back west, I believe, and their lawyers will be representing them, or they will be appearing virtually. And this is just to schedule further dates, because at this point, there are no further dates in the trial of Chris Barber and Tamara Lich besides the to be spoken to tomorrow to try and find more dates. But just because Pat King's trial has now been delayed 6 months does not mean that Chris and Tamara can have that trial time, as it's in two entirely different court systems. Now, Pat King will be moving to Ontario Court of Justice, and overall, I think it's a good thing that the defense of Pat King is moving towards a trial by judge, as when a judge makes a legal decision, they have to write a body of evidence. They have to justify that. They have to find reason for that decision in the law, whereas a jury, although being instructed to remove their biases, both subconscious and conscious, they still just vote. They don't have to write a large volume of legal opinion to justify their decision. They just vote. So if it's a unanimous vote one way or another, that's what happens. I also understand and believe there to be less opportunities to appeal a jury's decision. So that's another thing to consider. And again, the fact that they just vote, and they vote no matter whether it's on the law or not, they do vote. And so in this case, I believe it's going to benefit Mr. King, being as notorious as he is, that any decision in his case will be made according to the letter of the law with a judge. We'll see how that goes, if that goes true. But that is what the accused and the defense team are doing at this time, and we, I believe, should respect that. Now, back to Chris and Tamara. Again, tomorrow there is a check-in date, a to be spoken to, and I will come back with more news on that when it comes. This breaking news about Pat King's trial being delayed 6 months was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that this was coming. I'm not privy to a lot of the information out there. I have to try and figure out a better way to be on top of these things in the loop, but I'm glad that it did get out there. And so the trial, again, being delayed 6 months until May 13th, 2024, where it will sit for 9 days, break, and then come back for a week in July. And by that point in May 2024, we may again have a decision about Chris and Tamara, a verdict, whether they're guilty or not guilty. And if they are guilty, we might even have a sentence by that point. And again, this is all in the common law, whereas judges' decisions do not exist in a vacuum. They are the result of a lineage of decisions up until that point on the subject matter, not just the act and then the decision in a vacuum, but the act and all the decisions in a web, sort of interconnected, where all decisions kind of lead off the precedence of other decisions. So by that point, the decision regarding Chris and Tamara may be in the precedents, may be in the common law, which is another consideration for defense teams. We also have the trial of Randy Hilliard coming up. We also have the trial of Mr. James Bowder coming up, and those may also move over. I believe both of those are at this point a jury trial. I don't know if they'll decide to elect to be by judge as well. I don't know how that's going to go down, but I'll keep my eyes open on that. And I believe one of the two, James Bowder or Randy Hilliard has something at the end of this month. I think it's just a small check-in or something, but it's not the beginning of the trial. I believe both of their trials are to start early next year. They'll all clarify that and be on top of that. But this totally changes things. It changes my planning for the year. And out of nowhere, I was not expecting this. Again, a defense motion to delay the trial until May of next year, May of 2024, a 6-month delay from November 27th until May 2024. The defense asking for that, as well electing to be tried by a judge as opposed to a jury. And as a reminder, previously, Mr. King has lost, I believe, 2 motions where his defense has made motions to move his jury trial out of the city of Ottawa, and that has failed both times to my recollection. I think it's really important to emphasize the effect the common law decision regarding Chris and Tamara could have on other cases, seeing as that the majority of the evidence, even by the judge's own admission in the Chris and Tamara trial, has been about the convoy at large. And even specific other accused have been mentioned by name. Pat King has been mentioned by name in this trial, so I can understand the defense's possible interest in waiting for an outcome of that trial, maybe, and also, as well as we've heard in the trial of Chris and Tamara, an overwhelming amount of disclosure. How much of that is actually relevant to the charges? Well, in Chris and Tamara, it could be argued that very little is, as the judge has indicated, and as everyone else's, the defense has indicated, the majority of the evidence in the trial has been about the convoy at large, not about Chris or Tamara doing things, but about things that the convoy is alleged to have done at large. And again, mention of Pat King specifically by the judge at one point, saying that he marches to his own drum. That was in context to something else, but that did come up. So I can understand the defense teams taking interest and perhaps waiting for the outcome of this trial. But the main reason, as I understand, is that Natasha Calvino, sorry if I say that wrong, for acting on behalf of Pat King, would not be ready to proceed on November 27th because of the volume of disclosure. Again, no indication that it was a late disclosure, just indication that it was a tremendous volume of disclosure. Pat King's defense's motion was heard today in court, November 7th, and it has gone through. The trial has been delayed, and there will be a trial by judge, not by jury. And I'll stay tuned to any other updates from other accused in the convoy circle of things, including maybe Mr. James Bowder, Mr. Randy Hilliard. I know that there's also Steve Charland's trial coming up, but I believe it's French. I actually think that it's this week. Maybe I'll keep my eyes pierced and my ears open on what's going on here, and I'll update you all as soon as I know anything. And again, as soon as I know about Chris and Tamara, I'll be posting about that again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Patriot Smoothie.